Power Rankings. It's the time of the week where fan bases get mad at a stranger on the internet because I don't think your team is as good as you do. Now, number one on this list is the most obvious number one ever, so we're going to try to make fun with the other 12 people that are going to hear. First up, the first two out, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yes, they are still leading the AFC South. I'm fully aware, but for how much longer are they actually going to keep that lead? We'll see. Trevor Lawrence looks like he might miss next week. The offensive line is falling apart. Christian Kirk's already been out for the year. Calvin Ridley looks unhappy. Everything looks like it's going to hell in Jacksonville. What sounds more likely? Doug Peterson is fired in the next 2 weeks, or in 2 weeks Jacksonville has 10 wins? I'll let you decide. Next on the next two out is the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is the craziest statement I did not think I'd be leaving this week with. Mason Rudolph is the best quarterback they have on the roster. Now, that is a sad state of affairs, but thank God they finally come to that conclusion. I just read a headline today saying, yeah, Kenny Pickett was targeted to return this week, but they're going to go with Mason Rudolph again. They're going to try to sell it as a setback for Kenny Pickett. Oh, no. They finally realized, okay, Mason Rudolph is our best option, who coincidentally is the quarterback they drafted Kenny Pickett to replace. I think the fact that he was still on the roster, period, should have been a glaring indictment of Kenny to all of us that we should have saw coming. But hey, he's a starter now, and they were able to win this week. They're still just outside the playoff picture, but who knows? I still think they'll have a chance, especially if Baltimore wins against Miami this upcoming week, because Baltimore won't need that last game. Maybe they'll be able to win 2 straight and sneak into the playoffs that way. Now we're into the top 10. Let me get my graphic. Thank you, future me, editing this. Number 10, we got the Buffalo Bills. The Bills won, yeah, but did it make any of you feel more confident in the Bills? If anything, I could argue it made me feel less confident. This is an unserious team. Let's just keep it a buck. They're unserious because their quarterback's unserious. Your ceiling is highly limited when you have a quarterback who's just a reckless guy. There were signs of growth. I'll give him that. There's signs of growth because when he was playing a backup quarterback against the Jets in the season opener and he tried to play hero ball the whole game, that's why they ended up losing, because he ended up turning the ball over 4 times. Against Easton Stick, he only threw 1 interception. Granted, still reckless throughout most of the game, but still, 1 interception. We'll take it. James Cook couldn't exactly follow up his big performance against the Cowboys the way we thought he would. And we don't know what's happening with Stephon Diggs. He'll probably be on another team next year. Who knows? But they'll stay at 10. Please win more convincingly so people can have faith in you. Number 9, we got the Kansas City Chiefs. And all week long, you are going to hear people doing week 5 in a row of what's wrong with the Chiefs offense? Oh my God, is it the Taylor Swift curse? Is Patrick Mahomes losing it? Do they miss Tyreek Hill? No, the answer is coaching in Landover, Maryland at FedEx Field right now. They miss Eric Bieniemy. From what I understand, for what the Chiefs coaching dynamic used to be, everyone else used to be good cop. Eric Bieniemy was bad cop, which is why he was painted the way he was over there. If you remember, this offseason during training camp, one of the first stories to come out of Commander's camp was that Eric Bieniemy was too hard on the players. I don't know if he's lessened that. We haven't heard anything about that since. However, when you're in Kansas City and you have Pat Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid all being good cop, somebody has to be the adult in the room and put foot to ass so mental mistakes like not lining up correctly don't happen, or running the wrong route for the 5th straight time in a game doesn't happen. They don't have the foot to ass manager. They need Eric Bieniemy on the team. Funny enough, my old high school head coach broached this subject with me earlier today. Shout out to Coach Neesmith. And I remember him saying something to this effect my senior year. If I'm or one of the other coaches are going to rip you as your coach, we got to make sure we got another coach on the staff that'll patch you back up so I don't lose you forever. We need balance. We need balance. Right now, they got too many patch guys over there in Kansas City, and that's why their offense looks the way it does. And it's amazing to me that nobody else is putting the 2 and 2 together. Granted, if I'm being honest, I think most people know what the issue is, but for whatever reason, they don't want to give Eric Bieniemy credit. You can piece that one together. But as far as needing more receiver help, hey man, Caitlin Clark was at the game. She legit 6 feet tall, one of the best athletes in the world. Taylor Swift's at all the games. She's legit like 6'1". She performs on stage for 3 hours. Hey man, get them some shoulder pads in a jersey. We out here wasting talent in the booth so they can cheer. No. Get on the field. Number 8, we got the Los Angeles Rams. And outside of team number 1, the hottest team in the league right now. They've got the vaunted title of you don't want to see this team in the playoffs, which is always funny to me because every team in the playoffs are good. No duh. Karen Williams, the running back, has been a literal godsend that they've been able to find. Puka Nacua, who most of us had no idea who he was unless you're just a devout BYU fan, no more than 8 months ago. Look at the way he's playing. Cooper Kupp hasn't even been able to stay in the lineup consistently. Matt Stafford is giving us a reminder as to why when he gets his gold jacket in about 7 years, 8 years, whenever he ends up retiring in a 5-year waiting period, we're just going to have to be like, all right, bet. I can see it. Sean McVay's coaching his head off. Raheem Morris, the defensive coordinator, has them boys humming. They got a lot of rookies on that defense that are playing their ass off right now. Aaron Donald, to me, is still the best defensive lineman in the world. You guys may not have seen a lot of Rams games. That's fine. They're not on national TV often. I was watching that Saints game. I'm watching them get triple teamed, quadruple teamed, and the one time you single cover him, he's making plays. Aaron Donald's still that guy. He's just getting 4 people thrown at him from time to time. I'm loving what I'm seeing from the Rams now. Number 7, the Cleveland Browns. Quarterback number 4, Joe Flacco, just gave Amari Cooper his best day as a Brown. I want us all to let that sink in for a second. Shout out to Joe Flacco, man. They have the second or third best defense in the league. They've already hit 10 wins, which nuts. Kevin Stefanski has taken a commanding lead for the Coach of the Year race, and it's looking like we're slowly inching towards the Browns versus whoever wins the AFC South winner. Maybe the Jaguars don't want to win that division now that I think about it. Maybe that might not be the best call. Number 6, we got the Dallas Cowboys. Look, I had to drop them because they lost for seemingly the same reason again. Hopefully, they can pull it together against the Lions this next week. I'm still not in panic mode about the Cowboys. They'll be fine. Just patch up the run game some way, somehow. Get some stops, and don't take your best pass rusher from pass rushing. That doesn't make sense to me. Come on, that can't be the game plan. Number 5, we got the Philadelphia Eagles, who, shout out to the angry Eagles fans who were in the crowd around the third or second quarter yelling, run the ball. Because I was yelling at my TV the exact same thing. The Eagles have the best offensive line in football, and for whatever reason, they went a good 5 to 6 week stretch of just not running the ball. They're just like, hey, you know what? How about we let Jalen Hurts throw like 30 plus times? And I love Jalen Hurts, but that's not what he does. Sure enough, they went out there and started road grading. 170 yards on the ground, almost 5 yards a carry. Should have been good night Irene against the Giants. However, that pass defense is, oh boy. I know Darius Slay's been out for the Eagles, but he is still one man who can only guard one receiver at a time. Everybody else, oh Lord. Kevin Byard has not helped the way that we thought he would. Shaq Mason is helping, kinda. First game back, he was able to get a sack on Christmas Day. Shout out to him. But he's not having the impact yet that we think he will. Hopefully that improves throughout the playoffs for the Eagles' sake. But they got some holes to patch up on that pass defense. Number 4, we got the Detroit Lions, who have won the NFC North for the first time since it has been called the NFC North, which I thought was just the funniest headline I've ever heard in my life. Because we joke about the term poverty franchise from time to time, but I don't think we really grasp the concept of the very division we're in its inception, we have never won it. That's just a different level of poverty, but that's not an issue no more. They won. I lauded about the rookie class last week. Laporta looked great again. Gibbs looked great again. Branch looked great again. And the safety / linebacker, number 6, Ife, I can't pronounce the dude's name. I'm sorry. If you're a Lions fan, you know who I'm talking about. Number 6, Ife something. Ifeatu Melifonwu. Apologies to all my Nigerians out there. I know I probably just butchered that. But number 6, the safety for the Lions, is a baller. Like, very much in that Derwin James, Kyle Hamilton, just what position do you play on defense? Yes, just put him somewhere. He'll figure it out. I saw him line up at inside backer, outside backer, deep middle safety, outside third safety, box safety. They just put him everywhere, and he makes plays all over the field. Hold on, I got to read y'all his stat line for the Vikings game this past week. I know I'm supposed to be talking about the Lions. It just turned to a Ife fan clubbing, but hold on. 5 tackles, 2 sacks, an interception, and 2 pass breakups. If that doesn't perfectly define what I just described, I don't know what to tell you. Shout out to Ife. Number 3, we got the 49ers. I know there's going to be some people like, they just got embarrassed. How did they only drop the 3? Do you really think the Lions are better than the 49ers? Be honest with yourself. Look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. Look deeply in the mirror and ask yourself, are the Lions better than the 49ers? Are the 2 teams below the Lions that the 49ers beat the dog shit out of, are they better than the Niners? No, they got stomped against the Ravens. Hey, man, I don't know what else to tell you. And now I have to be the one person who's had the measured Brock Purdy take all season long to say, I told you so. Is he an MVP level quarterback? No. Is he the quarterback we saw on Monday night? Also no. He is a good quarterback who we saw all the inexperience that he has jump out of him on Monday. He is still a quarterback in his second year in the league. That I think just played his what? That was his 20th game, his 19th game. He's a young, inexperienced guy. He's gonna have some games like that. The fact that it took this long is the anomaly. It just so happened to come on the grandest stage of them all. But I got faith that the Niners coaching staff will be able to figure it out. The big concern, though, is Trent Williams left the game with a groin injury. I tried to wait as long as I could before doing this to see if there are some updates. All I see right now is San Francisco Chronicle says that he's going to miss some time with the groin injury. I don't know what that means. If I had to guess, I would guess we don't see Trent Williams again to the playoffs because they have the Commanders and the Rams left on the schedule. They could split those games and still get the number 1 seed. And without Trent, maybe they could get 2 wins. They'll probably end up splitting those games. But dust yourself off. They'll be fine. Everybody takes a L. And now Niners fans, you know how every other team felt when they played y'all. Number 2, we got the Miami Dolphins. I think I'm higher on the Dolphins than a lot more people. And it's not just because, they finally beat a good team in the Cowboys. That's part of it, but it's not it. If I would have told you when they were putting up 70 points and it was Achane motion here and Tyreek blowing the top off the defense here, if I would have told you that this team's defense would have been leading it, would you believe me? If I would have told you before the Cowboys game that the Dolphins were going to run for 91 yards and only score 22 points, you would have said, they lost. But no, their defense had a 40% pressure rate on Dak Prescott. For reference, the league average is around 18 to 20 per game. They were on Dak's ass like white on rice. And that's without arguably their best pass rusher in Jalen Phillips. It is absolute insanity how much better that defense is. So I really like what I'm seeing from the Dolphins defense. Unfortunately, that's probably going to change after they run into team number 1. Y'all knew it was coming. Say it with me. The Baltimore Ravens, who flew across the country, put their feet all over the 49ers couch, took the snacks out their fridge, punched their mama in the face. Okay, y'all get the analogy. The Ravens are now the undisputed best team in football. Straight up. I said this line in my immediate recap after the game. I have to repeat it here. Cat Williams once said, "A Chrysler 300 looks like a Phantom until a Phantom pulls up." Brock Purdy looked like an MVP until Lamar Jackson pulled up. Lamar Jackson is the Phantom of all Phantoms. Last week's power rankings, I said, it is hard to make Lamar Jackson's statistics argument for the MVP, but if you watch the game, there's no doubt that there is not a more valuable player in the world than Lamar Jackson. And that Ravens defense, do you know how much joy it fills my heart with as a Maryland resident whose older brother is a Ravens fan, that we're going to have a week-long conversation about how fucking awesome the Ravens defense is? You know how great that is for me? Oh, man. I loved what I saw from the Ravens that day. Not even just the fact that I called it in my preview and people called me a madman. And magically, when I get my predictions right, y'all don't flood my comments like y'all do when I get it wrong. It's funny how that works. I think they can do the same thing that they did to the Niners to the Dolphins for a couple reasons. One, the Dolphins are built like 80% of the Niners. Obviously, because McDaniel comes from that Shanahan tree. They're built very similarly on both sides of the ball. Very Niners-esque, but a lesser version of it. And also, the Ravens are at home now. Teams walk into the bank and leave with less teeth than they came with. There's a pretty good chance that they're going to be right back at number 1 next week. Shout out to the Ravens.